Welcome to Business Trends with Mumtaz Wazar. Today in studio I have with me Ashraf Garda, founder of Champion South Africa. Ashraf, thank you so much for being in studio with me today. How are you?
I'm very good, and thank you for giving me a platform, because that's really what it is. It's like literally having a seat at the front table, so I have it.
Champion South Africa. Tell me a little bit about Champion South Africa. How did it start? Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea came from a conversation I had with my son Zaid. Two of us spoke about it. That's the idea. Now, why? The why is important, and I love stories, okay? So just think about this here. Think about the United Nations Secretary General one day standing up and having a trophy in his hands or her hands and saying, you know, this trophy goes to the champion nation for this year. And I want that person to give it to our president, and I want him or her, the president of South Africa, to receive that trophy and say, yes, we're the champion nation. That's the image, that's the bottom line, that's the end goal. So why do we exist? We want to inspire people like yourself and everybody watching into a shift of thinking from where we are now into what we call champion thinking, so that we as a whole nation can become champion thinkers and champion activists, right? So that one day South Africa will one day become this champion nation. We're not there, we're very much a mid-table nation, struggling, you know, to survive, but our role is to inspire all of us so that we can one day become this champion nation and receive this, well, it doesn't exist, a fictitious trophy, but you can always dream about it.
In one of your posts, I read that you're looking for a champion for the social justice. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And the previous recipient was Dr. Suleiman.
Yeah.
What are the criteria that you use to award a recipient?
Okay, so it's not me. That's an example of a collaboration.
All right.
With the Social Justice Chair, or the Social Justice Plan, which is actually chaired by Professor Thuli Madonsela, the former public protector, who's at Stellenbosch University. So it's her project, but what they've done, they've twinned with us. I was a judge on those awards last year when Mumtaz was adjudged the winner, and this year in October there's this new award, and that's what we're calling out for. So what has happened compared to last year is I'm still a judge, but beyond that now, we as Champion South Africa are now actively, on behalf of the Social Justice, Plan, reaching out to people to say, make that nomination. Do you know someone who is worthy of the title of a social justice champion? And broadly speaking, social justice champions are people who their actions suggest a shift in society, where they've understood the gap between rich and poor, and therefore social justice, right? The social inequality. So if somebody has done something that has equaled the inequalities of social justice, then that's the type of person that we want to know about. So in fact, we've got a deadline like right now. People need to nominate, and if they've missed the deadline, because these conversations can be flighted and watched even a month or two later, it doesn't matter. We want to inspire people to become social justice champions. And maybe that tells you more about why we as Champions South Africa. You see, we're not unique as an entity. As an entity we are, but we collaborate and co-create with everybody else who is like-minded, thinking like us. If they have the same vision like us, even in their own space. So if you're a property developer and you want to be a champion in your space, then you're our friend, right? If you're a sportsman and you want to be the best rugby player or a World Cup winning rugby player, you're our friend. Because why? For South Africa to become a champion nation, we need to multiply the numbers of champions we have. A copy and paste. And Nelson Mandela alone as a champion ain't good enough. And Mumtaz Suleiman is also not good enough. We need to get to a situation where 1 million people at least are best in class in their field. When that happens, you'll see the country itself and the capacity and capability of South Africa and its impact globally starts rising. That's the people we want to talk to. How can you lift your game so that you become champion?
Ashraf, what projects are you currently busy with, or what projects do you have in mind for the near future?
So I think the one I mentioned, the social justice collaboration, that's one. The other is a collaboration with the Henley Business School, whereby they are providing scholarships for business students, right? And then they collaborate with us, and we call it the Champion South Africa Scholarship Fund, and Henley will give us even more. They've been very happy. That's fantastic. The plan is to grow that. It's not just Henley. I mean, there's a call out from others, because we need to impact on education. We need to be able to change people's lives. If you educate one person, there's a good chance 3-4 generations will be saved, if you get my point. So we need to do that. It's a priority. That's to Then we're looking at the one big event I told you about, like this whole Champions of the Year thing, and we need support for that.
I'm looking
right?
forward to that event.
Well,
You're
yeah.
mentioning support. What type of support are you looking for?
I think the big one is the hands-on support, good ideas. You know, ideas are not the exclusivity of myself. It needs people with great ideas, creative people to say, come on, we'll support you in some way or the other. But the other is on the event, we want, you know, business people who've got the money to say, can we be friends of Champion South Africa? And, you know, so one is for the event, but also beyond the event, we think, although we operate on two levels, as a social enterprise and as a foundation, we think there's enough business people at different levels across the spectrum of South Africa who are committed enough to our vision to say, can we hop on board?
For the benefit of my viewers, going back to the event, I just want to touch a little bit about the event. When are you planning to have this event?
I think it'll have to be sometime maybe mid next year.
Mid next year.
Or maybe before the winter months, so somewhere along that line. But it also depends on people to agitate. Because you see, here's the point, I may be passionate about South Africa and Champion South Africa, but I have my own vulnerabilities and frailties and weaknesses, and I can't do it all. So the challenge is not even about the money. What we actually want, and we've held it back in the past, we want a flood of people saying, you know that phrase, if you watch that hospital movie, like, how can I help? How can I help? How can I play a role in you for Champion South Africa through you? But it's not for it's not for me, it's actually for South Africa. And that role and those skills that people have is what we're looking for across the board.
Ashraf, who are the stakeholders that you plan to engage with to see this vision that you have for Champion South Africa to come through?
I'll start by telling you who we don't want to engage with, okay? We're not a political party, we have no political affiliation, so we do not want to engage with political parties, right? But government is government. Our government, whoever's in charge. So we will engage with government and their various departments. And if we've done it lightly, we need to do a lot more with their various departments, their various sectors, and sector training at different level. We want to engage with them. We want to engage with business. We want to engage with individuals. Right?
Ashraf, I want you to leave us with something to think about.
So, I mean, a couple of things, right? One, you see, many people are very successful in their industries, right? You know what's lacking in South Africa?
What's lacking?
They don't make the link between personal success and national success. So you get a person who's like this doctor, it's like, I've done well and I've got 6 or 7 A's at matric, and they all celebrate. And I always look out to say, what do they say? They're so happy for their family, they're proud of their parents, and they, blah, blah, blah. And they don't say, well, this is for my country. Okay? But sports people do that. When you get a Siya Kolisi winning the World Cup, it's like, this is for my country. When Francois Pienaar does it, this is for my country. They do that all the time, right? So the one challenge is, how do you make the link between personal success and national success? What am I saying? I'm saying when you win, South Africa wins. And when South Africa wins, you win.
How will my viewers get in touch with you to jump on board as champions for Champion South Africa?
We're available on all social media platforms, firstly, the whole lot, right? But specifically, I mean, just drop us an email to info@championsouthafrica.co.za, and it's not Champion South SA, it's South Africa specifically. We want to get into your mind. We're talking South Africa.
Info Champion South Africa.
Info@championsouthafrica.co.za. But feel free to connect with me, just at Ashraf Garda. I'm available on all social media platforms. And in spite of my age, believe me, I think I know a lot more about social media than most other people. I have a sense of what it works, because social media is your digital platform. So think of a flea market and a person having a table at a flea market and selling their wares. So social media is your shop window selling what you have. So I understand it, and I want people to understand that's where they need to find me.
Champion people build champion nations. Thank you very much, Ashraf.
Thank you for the platform.